Welcome back to Earth Station Trek, a show where we trek from the early days on NBC to the future on Paramount Plus and everywhere in between. I'm Charles Kelso, and it's my privilege to introduce the Earth Station Trek crew: Keith Johnson.
Or am I actually a hologram?
Alan Seiler.
We shall eat the human food pies. Wait, is it pies or piles?
And Veronica Dashel.
Hi.
And the gang's all here. We're all back this week.
Woohoo!
Welcome back, Keith.
Thank you.
And we're playing a little catch up this week. We'll be talking about 2 episodes of Strange New Worlds. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it. So spoilers for Shuttle to Kenfori and A Space Adventure Hour from Strange New Worlds Season 3.
Yeah.
We're going to kick it off talking about Shuttle to Kenfori.
Yeah.
Let me start by saying that I'm going to let you guys take the lead on this at first, because I don't remember one damn thing that happened in that episode, because it was a week ago and I have not had a chance to watch it a second time yet.
Okay.
All I remember is Klingon zombies.
Yeah. Klingons versus zombies. I mean,
that was the gist of the episode.
not a bad tagline.
Yeah, is it?
But meanwhile, a lot of characters sort of facing their inner monsters along the way. I think that's the theme they were going for there. So yeah, we got a return to the Strange New Worlds era Klingons.
Mm-hmm. I like these Klingons. They had a nice mix of Discovery and TOS and TNG and movie era, kind of smushed together.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of composite Klingons.
Mhm.
I do like the sort of the gold and the TOS stylings they've added to the armor to give you a little of that TOS flair without going full TOS.
Yep. I like it also.
Yeah. Okay. The one thing that really jumped out at me at this one was, like, there's a big part of the episode is that Pike and Benga are buddies.
Mm-hmm.
And they've mentioned that, like, going back to the first episode, but watching week to week, I forget. Like, they don't spend a lot of time being buddies.
No, and they don't act like buddies when they're together most, like 99% of the time.
Yeah, because it's usually like business time when we see them on screen together.
Yeah.
And this was a nice reminder of that relationship that we've heard about.
Right.
And saw a little bits of, like, at the very beginning, but it was nice to revisit that and actually see, a little bit of that history that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but they're no, like, Julian and Miles.
Yeah.
Or Cisco and Jax.
But who could be? Come on.
No, I know, but I just mean, I think the drama of it would be stronger if there were some scenes along the way of them being buddies on the ship, when he's like, well, are you saying this as my friend or as my captain? And it's like, well, we really only see him as his captain.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That's why those little human scenes that seemed like filler in stuff like Deep Space Nine, there was a reason for them.
Mm-hmm.
Go figure.
Yeah.
Keith, what did you
think?
think?
They serve a purpose.
Probably at the end of the show, I'm going to take 60 seconds to talk about Wedding Bell Blues, because the reason I say that is what you and Alan both said actually dovetailed with this, which was, goodness, after suffering through Wedding Bell Blues, my notes myself, it was interesting to see Mbinga and Pike have a conversation like they knew each other. But Alan also just said what I thought, which is, we don't get that enough. Those two actors are incredibly convincing as friends, but I keep forgetting they don't show them as friends a lot.
Right.
And so it kind of is like, oh, that's right. They're not just friend. They're not just captain and whatever. I do wish they would, and we'll get to this toward the end. The Spock and Whoever show is taking over a little bit of what should be other people. And what you guys are saying was right on. I've forgotten how fresh it felt to just have Pike honestly just talk to somebody when it's not a comedy and it's not a callback to another creature that shouldn't be in the show. It was just a good scene that I've been missing for a while.
Every week. He calls that out.
Yes.
It's not even a Gorn episode, and here we are on that again.
Well, there was a Gorn in it, kind of, sort of. Well, anyway, but yeah, it was. I actually wrote something which Charles, you had said one couple times. You're like, I wish Strange New Worlds would go explore Strange New Worlds. Well, along the same token, it was nice to just have a moment of genuine friendship without all the other stuff around it, either the war, the Great Gorn stuff or the comedy stuff. It's like, oh, I forgot that beat. Like, Veronica, you made a good point. That's what Deep Space Nine did so well. They had a lot of beats, but they just related to each other, and I missed that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not even just that we don't see them as friends that often. We don't ever see them on screen together. Like they almost never share a scene, much less one as friends. So it was a really nice change to get back to that.
It was. Yeah, I thought so too.
I also really enjoyed like the reason Pike gave that Mbenga was still coming along was that he never gets caught.
Right.
which leads back into what Pike later learned, that he never gets caught.
Yeah, we got to talk about that
caught
too.
earlier.
Mm-hmm. Well, well, let's get into the Mbenga thing a little bit, because last year we had the episode where did he like they deliberately like kept it sort of mysterious if he assassinated Ambassador Dakra or if it was self-defense, and in this one they just some I killed him.
Yeah.
So what do we think about that revelation and how it plays in here?
Well, and I'm wondering, is it a revelation? I mean, I think it is. Yes, I think it is. But did he just say that? Is he playing that girl because that's what he needs to do in the situation that he's in?
Okay.
I wondered that too, and I thought that, but the only thing is the way he said it, and then when Chris said something like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" He basically, when talking to Pike, he acted as if he was telling the truth, and he did assassinate the general or the ambassador.
Yeah,
that's the way it came off. And I actually wrote my notes per what you guys were saying. I wrote in my notes, and this is one of those completely subjective opinions. I don't need to know that he actually did it. I wish they had left it completely vague.
Yeah.
And what I would have done, kind of what you were saying, Alan, I would have just left him saying that to her, and then Pike going, was that real, or were you saying that for her benefit? And he would just say, Chris, there's just some things even friends shouldn't tell each other, and then leave it vague. I think they're saying he actually did it, and I didn't need to hear that. Doesn't ruin the character. I just didn't need to hear that. Personally.
What you're saying goes right back to the most toys from TNG season, what was it, 5 or 6, where you don't know at the end, because Data's transporting and his phaser discharges, if he was shooting that guy or if it was an accident. And if it was one or the other, then was Data lying about it? And both of those things are things that should not happen. So which one is it that did happen? And they never answer the question. And I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, because what you think the person did says something about you. Are y'all familiar with the famous story and short film, The Lady or the Tiger? You ever seen that or heard that? The Lady or the Tiger, long story short, is a story just like that. They actually showed it to us when we were in middle school. But it basically boils down to a prince in a foreign land, a princess in a foreign land who ends up having an affair with a palace guard, which is completely wrong. And then they find him, and the punishment for him having an affair with the Princess Royale is one of those you leave it to chance. They put him in an arena, and he gets to choose 2 doors. Behind one door is a beautiful woman who's rich, and he will be able to live happily ever after, even though he had an affair with the princess. Behind the other door is a starving tiger who will tear him apart in front of the crowd. Now his lover, the princess, finds out which door has what. And then at the end of the show, she tells him which door to go to. And the end of the thing is, well, which door does she give her love to? The door where he's going to marry another woman and be happy and rich, or the door where the tiger kills him and she doesn't have to have him in another woman's arms? It's called The Lady of the Tiger. And what you think she did, they kind of says something about you as a person. So what you were saying, Alan, about this and Data, I think that says, because I've heard so many people say, well, Data fired. Of course he did. Well, he didn't. And that was kind of the same thing with here. I didn't need to know which one of Mbenga did. But it's not bad.
There was not a sequel story where she said, I sent him to the tiger.
What's that?
There wasn't a sequel story where she said, I sent him to the tiger.
No.
You're right.
Okay.
I was just about to say, Keith, we only have half an hour per episode. All right. We got a slew of comments. So let me jump back in and find those. Our buddy, Wayne, who I don't think we've seen in a few weeks, says it's official. Spock's a playa. Yeah, we're going to get to that in the second half of our show. Mark says, OMG, zombies. Elaine Whitman says, yeah, they're reminiscing on the shuttle was nice to see, but it's odd for this to be about the only time we see this. Yeah, exactly. Back to the Spock thing, my good friend Sharon says, Nurse Who, right? Matt Sweatman says, these character relationships suffer from that's true, fewer episodes. I have no doubt that there were opportunities for Pike and Mbenga's friendship, but there hasn't been screen time to show it. Right.
Matt, I would very slightly add to that. If they spent less time on these crazy comedies, they'd have more time for character development.
Right. Matt also says, is there a contrast with Picard's first duty to the truth and Pike's willingness to help cover up information about his crew? That sounds like a good topic for a future episode.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And Sharon says, hi, Alan. Hi, Sharon. Okay. We're caught up, I believe. Okay.
Yeah. To sort of respond to what Matt said, I think I mean, we're in episode 24 or 23 as of the one we're talking about right now. I think there has been time to show it. Less time than you get on the traditional shows, but I think there has been time that they could have prioritized putting Pike and Mbenga together. Even for small scenes, they would do that on DS9 all the time, where they're on the way to a mission and they're talking about Keiko or something. You know, like people they would just talk about their personal lives and it's not really relevant to the plot, and they just haven't prioritized those two characters interacting in that way.
It can be a 30-second scene. It doesn't have to be a long thing. Just moments, just a couple of moments, even if it was one per season. Right. That would have helped.
You can take away from Spock dancing.
Oh God!
Well, even going back to the original pilot with the original Pike, for what you're saying, Charles, they did establish the idea of the Doctor being the captain's counselor, as it were. Right. So yeah, they could have had him talk them to being. Heck, they could end every show with it. Every now and then they could have them playing handball, or since Mbenga is a ruthless killer, they could be sparring at the end of every show, and they have a conversation.
Right.
Yeah. So what do we think about the revelations that we got about Batel? Because it seems that she's still got the Gorn situation going on. Yeah. I guess the mission here was to get a flower that would allow her body to sort of hybridize with the Gorn cells, if I was following that correctly.
That's my understanding.
There's been a lot of speculation online that she's going to become some kind of a Gorn hybrid. I even saw someone speculate that she would become the Gorn that Kirk would fight in her
Wow. Wouldn't that be amazing? Oh my gosh.
But where do we think that they're going with this? And what do you think?
I will accept that.
Okay. That was Batel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad you brought this up.
No, but like a new version of the Gorn because of her, but not that particular one.
Because there was a line in Arena 2 when Kirk refers to the creature the Metrons called a Gorn. Which could be taken to say that creature does not look quite like the Gorn that he's familiar with.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that it's Batel, but if there was some different hybridization of the Gorn.
Yeah, that's true. I'm glad you brought this up because I had no memory of the whole, like, I don't even know if it was the A plot or the B plot. Right. I guess B, but I'm glad. I don't even know.
Veronica, did the Chimera flower remind you of anything?
No.
Remember Tuvix?
There we go. Not bringing up Tuvix.
The whole reason their DNA merged because of that stupid plant they found on the planet, and it's what made their DNA merge together. So the Chimera flower, I thought, had to be homage to Tuvix.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna get Keith going when I mentioned the Gorn, and he played the Tuvix.
Get Veronica going instead.
Right. I guess my question is, okay, it completely threw me when they said that they were turning her into a hybrid. I did not see that coming. I mean, I was as shocked as Pike when I saw that. And I did like a lot of Pike's like, is everybody on the ship, paraphrasing, does everybody on the ship know about this but me? Because every day she's like, this person knows about it, Spock knows about it. I tend to think, depending on how bad that transformation, I could see somebody like her killing herself. I mean, I don't know if I want to be a Gorn human hybrid.
Right.
It depends on how much Gorn and how much human. So
okay.
I guess she's like, I want to take the chance to try and find out, and I got people here that I've told to shoot me if things turn bad.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
All right.
I feel like not everyone knew. I feel like it was Chapel and Mbenga and Spock, and that was it.
Okay, we've got some comments coming in, but they're about the Gorn. So let's just look at them real quick and just see what they say. Matt Sweatman says, my Gorn theory has been since they gestate in other species, they may take on certain aspects of these species, and that's why the ones we see in Arena are so different. And that makes total sense.
Yeah, because it happened in Alien. and it's the Alien franchise, and they're ripping that off pretty heavy. So that makes sense.
Right. Mark says Lorca has a TOS era Gorn skeleton in his ready room. There are plenty of TOS Gorn out there. That's a great point.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Okay. And our buddy, oh, dang, now we got another one. Okay. Our buddy Bill says, I know it's not a popular view, and I know people want some things that aren't just for laughs, but I want Kirk to meet 3 Gorn who show him, dang it, too many comments, who show him with 3 Stooges stick. What? They're safe. What?
Stick view, like.
I got you. Yes, I get you. Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Bill, thanks for participating, Bill, but no more comedy, please.
Oh, come on. All right. Elaine says, but are we 100% sure that it was a pure Gorn in her? After the mind meld with Spock, they saw something. They both saw something, and they weren't sure that it was the Gorn.
I'm pretty sure it was Gorn based on what we saw on the screen, and then what Spock's vision was like when he was looking around. That seemed like Gorn vision.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I just want to take this opportunity to point out that Spock said in Dagger of the Mind that Van Gelder was the first human he used a mind meld on.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for saying it, Charles, because I don't want to be accused of being the one who says it all the time.
I'll say it.
You know I wrote it down. In my notes, I said Spock was saying to McCoy, it is a deeply personal thing to the Vulcan people, and McCoy had to convince him to do it. And I just don't know why they have to bring stuff like that out of all the time.
Maybe that's why Spock doesn't want to do it. Because of that experience. Huh?
Okay, Veronica, I'll go with that.
There you
I
go.
love the way she did that.
Everything can be explained. Okay. Sharon says maybe there are different types of Gorn, kind of like apes versus chimpanzees. And of course, that makes the most sense. Let's see. Matt Sweatman, my gosh, y'all are chatty tonight. Matt Sweatman says, now she's a hybrid, technically not human. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Well, I think that's Gorn enough for the moment.
So Mbenga and the Klingon.
Yeah, and Mbenga and the Klingon, specifically, she's Dockra's daughter, and she said that oh no, I just forgot the name of the alien, but it was the alien that we saw at the wedding. The same ones, the sort of zebra face guys, that came up to him and was having a drink with Mbenga, and that was the alien that she said, the Rendovian or something like that, who had slipped him the tracker, right?
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Yeah, and so he had slipped him the tracker, said never trust like a Rendovian, never eat the olives or whatever when Rendovian gives you a drink or something along those lines. And we saw a shot of him having a drink with that guy at the wedding in the previous episode.
And
did I go to the refrigerator while that scene was on? Because I don't remember that at all.
And it's the same type of material, right, that they used in the Star Trek movie.
Right, in Star Trek 6.
Star 6. It was the same type of thing. That was interesting.
I guess she just got really lucky that the following week he crossed the border into Klingon space. But
yeah.
I mean, what do we think about Dockra's daughter and her little quest for revenge?
I kind of didn't get it because she said, I was going to kill my father. And then she spat on the ground because he was a traitor to the Empire. And it's a good thing he's dead. But then she's like, but you killed him first. And so now because you killed the traitor to the Empire, I must kill you who killed the traitor to the Empire to restore my honor. Why would she get honor for killing the man who killed the traitor to the Empire?
Well, because he stole her opportunity to get honor.
So now she's killing the traitor. Honor back.
But why would the Empire give her honor for killing the man who killed the traitor to the Empire? That's what I didn't understand.
Okay, but he killed the traitor. So now he has honor. So she wants his honor, so she has to kill him to get his honor.
And I sort of took it as because she sort of was in the position that Worf was in Sense of the Father, where her father was a traitor. Yeah. And so rather than her killing the father to restore honor to her house, an enemy killed the father instead.
Right.
And so she didn't have the opportunity to do that.
Wow, this is super complicated.
It's Klingon logic.
It's Klingon stuff, man.
Super complicated. Because if you get okay, Bill, you talked about jokes. Because now what I can see is a line of people literally stretching to the horizon. You killed the guy who killed my father. You killed the guy who killed the guy who killed my father. And just like killing honor, it made no sense to me. And she, she came off as not all that impressive, honestly. I don't know if it's how the actress was directed, but she came off as kind of, I don't know, whiny, weak. Somehow, something about her didn't work for me. I don't know what it is.
I liked her.
Her delivery, I thought, was very reminiscent of like the '90s Klingon ladies.
Yes.
Like they're or
yes.
and
yeah.
Had that kind of, I don't know, the diction, the way she would say her word. Maybe it's the teeth that help.
It's the teeth. Yeah, I think the teeth is a big
but
part
I
of
thought
it.
that she would have worked perfectly well in like a Next Gen episode.
Yeah. Now, I did get an unintentional laugh when they were doing all the drama and the monologuing and they were talking about honor. And the whole time in the background, the zombies were just banging on the force field. There's all this conversation. They're like, and then one point, the force field's about to fail. Like, oh, yeah, there's zombies on the other side of the thing. That was kind of funny.
Right. That was good.
Okay, here's a couple of good ones. First of all, I'm going to get this one from Bill, who says, with no idea how to watch current Trek shows, or whatever streaming services he has available, he says, I happily listen to you at work to get something of what I'm missing. Thanks.
Aw.
Thanks, Bill.
That's nice, Bill.
Yeah,
and
that's
just
awesome.
Real
Thanks
quick
for
for Bill and anyone else who's listening, the next episode we're going to talk about, A Space Adventure Hour, is streaming for free on YouTube this week.
Mhm.
So you can go over to the YouTube and watch A Space Adventure Hour, and you get a free episode of Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, go now, and then you can be back in time for us to talk about it in about 10 minutes.
No.
We'll wait.
Okay, great. Okay. Matt says, killing the man who killed my father. That sounds like a perfect Lower Deck gag. And this is where I was going. Elaine says, it was very, hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Yeah, this one didn't work for me. This convolution to Klingon honor just didn't work for me. So I didn't buy it, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it because overall, you can write anything you want for Klingons. I didn't buy that honor thing. It just made no sense to me. And the thing with M'Benga revealing that he actually was the assassin, I wouldn't have done that. But overall, I liked the episode because what we're all saying is it was good to get back to some good character study and some good actors hanging out together who were not there before. And I enjoyed those interactions. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I was happy they went to a planet.
Yes, right.
Thank you. And when the setup was basically Klingon zombies, I was like, ugh, this doesn't sound, But then what we got, and that to me was by far the least interesting aspect of the episode. I thought everything else that happened around that was really, really good. And we've only got a few minutes left to talk about this one, but I want to get to what's her name?
Ortegas,
yes, because they look like they're setting up an actual character arc for her. So we had some good material with her, a little bit of good material with her the previous week when her brother visits, but now we're getting looks like a setup here, and I want to know what you guys think about this because I have a very specific thing to say about this, and I want to see what you guys think.
Okay. Yeah, I like that she's going through whatever PTSD.
And it's not just, this happened, I'm done.
And it's a sort of a confluence of things because she's got the Gorn thing that just recently happened. She's got that lingering history from the Klingon War. And now she's having to face the Klingons right after that Gorn thing. And I kind of like that her little bit of, she was a bit argumentative on the bridge, more so than she ought to be, but she's sort of known for being a little bit mouthy on the bridge. But also then she just pushed the ship a little too fast and no one bought that. Like, number one, didn't buy that she did that by accident. Like she was trying to force number one's hand.
Yeah.
And I like that. And I like that she got pulled from the duty roster and now she'll have to be out of commission and not be at the helm for a few weeks to sort of think about what she did. Or I guess we'll find out in the next episode if that's true.
Thank you.
When she was boxing with her little brother, I kept expecting them to do spoilers for Deep Space Nine, but I expected them to do some kind of reference to her hand, to where she had gotten things bitten off or blown off in the last one, and they never said anything. Like I thought the whole box thing was going to set up her just kind of even looking at her hand, going, "Oh, it's whatever." But they never mentioned that, so I thought, is it over? But then as the PTSD came creeping out, I thought that was good. I thought for a show that I sometimes criticized for being a little too over the top, they did really good subtle direction. Did you notice number one just gave her these little looks from the command chair? I love that acting, just this little look, and I was like, she's gonna get it later. I love that.
Yeah, it's a situation she can't address while they're in a battle situation.
Right.
And while she is mouthy on the bridge, she's never antagonistic.
Right.
And that's
Right.
definitely what happened. Okay, but let me jump back to the previous episode because there's something that I forgot to mention when we reviewed the wedding episode. There was, I don't have a prop. There was a moment where she's like drinking her drink and she's holding her cup and she's kind of holding it like this. And from the way the camera was, I'm like, holy cow, did her hand not grow back yet? But then she like did that, and I'm like, oh, okay.
That must have been on purpose.
I totally forgot about that until Keith mentioned the wedding scene. But here's my thing. I'm thrilled that they are giving Ortegas something to do. I'm thrilled that they're giving her a storyline that's going to be her storyline, except that it isn't her storyline. It's Detmer's. Why do they? I mean, why didn't somebody in the writer's room say, hey, you know what we could do? We could take Ortegas and she's in this situation and she could have PSD. Why didn't somebody else say, we just did that?
Yeah.
With a pilot character had PSD. Why don't we come up with something different for her?
Right.
I think a little bit of the creative. That's a very good point, Alan. I honestly think this is not like I hate to show criticism. I think a lot of their creative energy is going towards Spock and stuff. And this is almost an afterthought. But I agree with you at the same time. She's such an engaging character.
Yeah.
That even though I agree with you that it's a repeat, I do kind of like that. You know, what's in some ways what's going on with there. And there's always been a question. I never served or anything like that. But there's always been a question sometimes in Star Trek is what is the post-stress stuff? Because in the original series, of course, they were right back on it. And family? Was it family with Picard?
Yes.
That was one of the first times the Star Trek series really dealt with post-traumatic anything. And I think that's why that episode stands out so well. So I'm glad at least they lasted
one episode.
Yeah.
You know, at least with Detmer, they stretched it out over 5 or 6 episodes, which I thought was wonderful.
Right.
And I mean, so I'm not opposed at all to Ortegas getting a good plot.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's somebody else's plot. You know, I mean, not that more than one person can't have PSD. That's not, you know, that's obviously a stupid thing to even think. But
to have it happen so soon after, it's like it hasn't only been a year and a half ish since that storyline with Detmer.
Yeah, well, technically, it's 900 years earlier.
Okay,
that's true.
Just kidding. Technically, Ortegas did it first.
Oh, good point. Damn.
Yeah, if you're watching in the Elaine and Matt order.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of good comments. One, Matt Sweatman says Ortegas needs to get back to Earth and to her family's vineyard and get in a fight in the mud with her brother.
Start crying.
That's great.
So what kind of vineyard does Ortegas have?
Right. And Mark says Ortegas is grounded in one episode and instantly forgiven the next. I mean, that's Star Trek.
Well, but they did mention it was a crisis, and it was kind of one of those, she's the best we have. So I hope next week they're going to address it again, though.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're talking about next week, or next week, the one that we are going to be reviewing in about 5 minutes, they do address it, but I got things to say about that, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts on Shuttle to Kenfori before we go to a break and then transition over into the next episode?
For me, I watched 3 hours of the show today, back to back to back. And coming off the Wedding Bell Blues.
It was a good day for you, Keith.
It was. And coming off the Wedding Bell Blues, which was 45 minutes, I will never get back. I really enjoyed
your beef with that episode. Well, we'll find out at the end.
Yeah, we'll find out in the end.
I thought it was pretty good. And I did take in my notes. One thing I do like about Babenga, even though he's a callback character, man, is he's completely different and fleshed out. And he defeated that Klingon woman in less than 60 seconds, and he wasn't even trying hard. Right. I'm like, Jesus, I don't think anybody's ever had a doctor like that before.
Right.
Yeah. I liked it.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I got some criticisms, but on the whole, I thought it was an enjoyable Star Trek. I was pleased they went to an episode. And it's Klingons and zombies.
You mean they went to a
planet?
Right. They went to a planet. There you go.
They went to an episode.
Whatever.
Agreed.
All right, but I saw that they were doing location work. I was like, oh, thank God. All right. Take a break?
Yep.
All right. We'll be back in 30 seconds, y'all. Don't go anywhere.
Hi. Hi, I'm Gina Shock from the Go-Go's, fabulous drummer of the Go-Go's.
Hi, this is Tony Levin of King Crimson.
Hi, this is David Fishoff of the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp.
Hi, this is Richard Evans. I am the author of Listening to the Music the Machines Make.
Hi, this is Teresa Kariakis, punk rock photographer.
Hi, I'm Tom Beaujour, author of Nothing But a Good Time, and you are listening to Modern Musicology.
Modern Musicology.
Modern Musicology.
You're listening to Modern Musicology, so, pay attention. You might learn something.
And we're back. And all right, a space adventure hour.
Okay.
I love this opening.
Okay.
It was very, very much current day, trying very hard to be 60s and like overdoing it. So it was wonderful.
Okay. What did you think of the opening, Keith?
It was an episode.
Just a deep breath, like
this one just didn't work for me. This was one of like 3 Star Trek.
You are so hard to please, Keith.
Okay, Alan, you gotta
comedy. Yeah, it was fine. It wasn't as good as Captain Proton, and
come on.
It was just fine. Okay, here's where I'm going. I even wrote, given how much problem some people had with Paul Wesley playing Kirk and the whole thing, why would they make him do a satire?
I know.
Kirk?
That was so great. That was the best thing.
They did it. They did it just to skewer those people that have complained about him.
I think
exactly.
So, because perhaps surprisingly, I have no problem with his portrayal of Kirk. I don't want a caricature. He's fine, but you're right, Alan. Some people hate the guy. Like, I don't hate anybody on these shows.
They're wrong.
Yeah. It was fine. I didn't laugh once during this episode, so I'm not gonna have a lot to say.
Oh boy.
Not once. I knew Veronica, and I thought about Veronica because of Subspace Rhapsody. I was like, I bet Veronica is rolling, and I'm just sitting there going, okay, when is this over?
What, Keith? The only thing that could have made this episode better for you is if it had Gorn in it.
Oh God! Oh my God! I'll probably throw the shoe at the television.
Well, what did you think, Alan?
For the most part, I enjoyed it, and I knew I was going to like it. And I really liked that even the murder mystery part was about producers and actors on a sci-fi television show. Mm-hmm. And I liked that it really kind of told the Star Trek message,
mm-hmm.
and especially Celia's lines about, don't you think that art can be something that people can, see themselves in and take away from? And I loved that scene.
I loved how that captured La'an with what she was doing on the holodeck with this book series that captured her, and it would capture all the Star Trek fans that are like, yes, that's me.
Yeah. But there was one thing in particular that I loved about it, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I thought this episode was bananas.
Well, it was
itchy glass bananas that people collect. I mean, it was like, I see what they were. I don't know what they were going for with the TOS parody, because it was like,
I don't either.
A mashup between the original series and like bad 50s sci-fi. And so the whole time I'm wondering, like, is that how the producers of this show see the original series, or is that how they think the audience sees the original series? Because it was deliberately worse than what the original series ever was. Deliberately, Paul Wesley was doing an over-the-top bad Shatner.
Yes.
And they made several comments in the episode about how you can't even deliver a line believably. And I'm thinking, is this a dig on Shatner? Is this
I don't think so.
I think this was them trying to be like, this is what some people think.
Okay,
they don't know Star Trek.
Sure, but at no point did the character he was playing show that he's actually a good actor.
True.
No, that's true.
Like, he was vapid. He was stealing lines from people. He was unable to believably,
So that was there for the people who hate Paul Wesley.
Okay.
I'm going to agree with Alan and Veronica, and I'm going to say something that you won't be surprised to hear.
Okay.
I don't think this is Keith. I don't think these people do comedy well with Strange New Worlds, personally. That's me personally. But I agree with Alan and Veronica saying, I think they are 100% skewering the people who don't like Paul Wesley, but I don't think they pulled it off well.
Okay.
And I agree with that. I think Paul Wesley's a fine actor. Here's the thing. I think he was really good in the comedy. I think he worked. I just didn't like the episode. But I have no problems with Paul Wesley. But I agree with Alan. I think they were like, okay, F you guys who don't like Paul Wesley. So we're going to lean into it. But I don't think it worked for you and me, Charles. I don't think it worked though.
And I liked the episode more than you did. It was really, I was just trying to like Stargate did a parody of itself called Wormhole Extreme.
Yeah.
It was great.
I thought was a little more clever than what they did here, and had something more to say about sort of science fiction and about the show in general.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas here you've got the big data tapes in the background and the big levers, and then the lady who's obviously holding rods with her own eyeballs on it, and it's like this is nothing like what would have been in the original series. Like this is the sort of thing they were trying not to do in the original series.
It was like an exaggeration. It was like
Roddenberry did like the man trap going out first because it was very like 50s sci-fi chasing a monster kind of an episode.
Right.
But then she delivers this impassioned speech later in the episode about what a great show it is and how it can inspire people. But you're like, really, because there's science reasons we need our brain cells.
I didn't see that.
You know,
I didn't
see that.
So I thought maybe it would have been more effective if it was a good version of Star Trek and not like a deliberately worse than Star Trek version of Star Trek.
Have you ever seen, there's a film that's basically a parody of 50s sci-fi tropes, and it's called The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra?
I have.
It is one of the funniest damn things I have ever seen. And it's so clever and it's cheap as hell, but it's so well done. That's what this is trying to be. Right. And I don't think it got there.
Yeah.
Say that again. The name of that? What was the name
of
that?
The Lost Skeleton. Good. I'm sorry.
The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra.
Yeah. A filmmaker named Larry Blameyer made that film. And I've got several of his movies.
Are y'all really surprised?
Right. I don't know.
Some of those should go in a book you're going to write at some point.
Right. Exactly right. I'm working on that actually. Yeah, I mean, I didn't hate it, and I liked that he had the opportunity to go sort of full Shatner or even over the top Shatner, but one of the things I've really liked about Paul Wesley's portrayal up to now is that they haven't leaned into the Shatnerisms.
Yeah,
is that it's very much the more understated season 1 Kirk, where he's hustling people at chest, and he's a computer genius, and he's very thoughtful. You know what I mean? Rather than going for those cliches, and they sort of went full on in the cliches there. And I guess I'm just not sure yet how I feel about that. I didn't hate it or anything. That was just the first thing. I mean, obviously, it's the first thing that leapt to my mind because it's the first thing on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a whole bunch of comments. So, and some of these go back to the end of the last half of the episode where we're discussing the last week's episode. My buddy Angela Burke, hi Angela, says, I get your point about the storyline. This is about Ortegas, but not everyone has seen all the Discovery episodes, including Angela. And so she liked it. And that's a good point.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. Bill says, who did it first? This just reminded me of a joke Douglas Adams had in his first Hitchhiker's book, where a character went back in time and sued an actual inventor for patent violation. That's so good. Yeah. Matt Sweatman says Paul Wesley finally figured out how to do Kirk. Oh, I don't
disagree.
And he also says we loved this episode and it was far better than
I'm sorry, we can't go there.
Captain Proton.
Elaine, wait till you get to Voyager. No. Proton is so much better.
We have a couple of title jokes where we have Bill says Gorn fishing and Gorn in 60 seconds. Mark says hated the fairy tale episode, loved the Subspace Rhapsody, and this one was just mid. I did like the Last Frontier show. I want to see a whole episode of that.
Right.
Angela
you're so
says
alpha.
Angela says that she loved this episode, figured it was Spock a la Data Sherlock Holmes, but still thinks Scotty is a bit too young.
Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah, I actually had in my notes because I know they're trying to shoehorn the character in, but he's brilliant, obviously. But he's a young lieutenant, so why is he basically taking over engineering when Pelea's not around?
Thank you.
Yeah,
makes no sense.
Oh, it drives me nuts.
Yeah, there's apparently there was one engineer, and now there's two. So she doesn't show up to work anymore. And like in the last episode, this week they said that she was on shore leave. The last episode they said, well, just I know she hates these meetings. Well, it wasn't like the regular Friday morning meeting. Like the ship's in peril. We're going into Klingon space. Like it's not. You don't send your subordinate because you hate meetings.
Right. I'm really not happy with this whole situation because I love me some Pelia.
Yeah.
And I know that she's like the Jet Reno of this show. She's not in every episode. She's only a recurring guest star. So she's only in about half of the episodes. I totally get that. But don't make up stupid excuses for her to not be in an episode.
Exactly.
Drives me bananas. Anyway, Matt Sweatman says, I do think it was a little too much of a redo of Elementary Dear Data.
Yeah, I think there were some nods to that, but I think they went in a little bit of a different direction because she made a similar mistake to what Data made, or I guess Geordi had made, where he asked for an antagonist that can defeat Data, whereas here she asked for a mystery that would be a challenge to her to solve, not a mystery that she couldn't solve. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I thought. Let's get into the holiday. Do we have more comments before we?
Oh yeah, we've got a lot more.
Go right.
Sorry,
ahead.
this is. We have a very active audience tonight, which is
I'm
great.
awesome.
We love
I'm
participation.
Yes.
Mark says this was a dig on all the stand-up comedians playing Kirk.
Yes. Yes.
Angela says that it was a great spoof and a fun episode.
Okay.
Elaine says, I enjoyed this episode, but to be fair, I'm easily amused. What I loved, that's what I was going to say. What I love was the blooper reel. Okay, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Matt says the opening felt more like a USS Callister than the original series. That's a great point.
Okay.
Angela says throwback to old Doctor Who eps too.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Bill says my favorite episode of Stargate was the one in which Tilk and the Colonel were having their own Groundhog Day experiences.
Okay.
Yes. Agreed.
Okay. Elaine says Paul Wesley's character trying to pull off the Riker maneuver. Yes, I forgot
that
about
was
that.
so perfect. That's the best part of the episode.
And of course, Jonathan Frakes directed the episode.
Yeah.
Yep.
The captain's chair when Frakes was there. Okay.
So I want to
Bill
know
says,
if that was a plan that Frakes planned at this time.
All of the bloopers were planned. They were not.
Okay, but I want to know if Frakes planned that one or if Paul Wesley planned it, kind of like Boimler did before Jack Quaid.
Anyway,
I'll bet
Bill
Frakes did.
says, "Oh, I want to see Lost Skeleton of Cadavra now." And Mark says that Lost Skeleton of Cadavra is required viewing for all people paying homage to the 1950s. Totally, it's so clever.
This. I'm stunned. I've never seen this. I thought I'd seen everything. So yeah, it's on my list for the weekend.
Matt comes out of the closet about hating Captain Proton. Well, he kind of picked up on that.
And he didn't like Chain of Command either.
Yeah, Matt says because Carol Kane wasn't available this episode. Well, whatever.
Like Charles said, they got 2 engineers.
That's all I'm saying.
Charles said they got 2 engineers on the ship.
Right. Sharon says, love the outtakes at the end. Yes. Matt says it was Geordi's mistake, not Data's. Okay, we're caught up.
It was the programmer's mistake, not Geordi's.
So let's get into the holodeck part of the episode because I was sort of not anticipating the holodeck thing, right? I know there was a holodeck recreation room, or there was a recreation room that could create environments on the animated series, and they sort of nodded to that, except for they called it the recreation room.
Yes,
and then she's like holodeck for short,
right? Which is not short.
Which is not short. No,
right. In the Practical Joker, the animated series episode, they had rec room on the sign out front, which is actually short for recreation room.
Right.
Holodeck. That whole thing just came out of left field. I don't know why he called it a recreation instead, but they sort of nodded to it. But I did like the idea that this thing is such a powerful simulator. It's a danger to the ship. It basically, she commented that it was based on battle simulators, and so it's treating her like an enemy combatant would, and it starts drawing power from the ship, like they're all going to die because this thing's out of control. I like that. I like that. I like the idea too that they're gearing up for longer than 5-year missions, and so this is something that they're looking at. And I like that it didn't have like a collection of characters. They had to pull from the pattern buffer to have complex enough characters. I thought that was a good pasting over the fact that they're
it gave a good reason for doing that too, and I thought that was really, really clever.
And
a brand new technology. What
I was going to say that Chuck mentioned that they were planning on going for longer than the 5-year mission, but if you noticed, and they mentioned the 74 days or 84 days, that's 7 years. Or 84 months. 74 months.
Talking about the intro.
The intro, yes.
For the last frontier.
Because it was for 7 years. I did math.
Yes.
Okay.
I do math.
Good job. I don't know what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
That's okay. No biggie. It'll come to me.
Well, what did you think about having a holodeck adventure?
Oh, I know what I was going to say. Okay, so brand new technology. They're just installing it on a ship. The first thing it does is malfunction and cause a big, quote unquote holodeck episode where the holodeck goes wrong and people are in danger and the ship is in danger and blah, blah, blah. How come by the time of next gen have they not fixed that freaking problem?
Dude,
how are they in next gen still having episodes where the holodeck malfunctions and puts people in danger? How do they not have fixed that in the 100 effing years?
Right. You'll be surprised to know even I've given up on criticizing this one because, to your point, even the most basic computer now, if you say, hey, create a villain in the holodeck capable of killing me, the computer would say, please specify. Do you mean you or your fictional character? And the holodeck's like, whatever. And then it's
just like, go time.
Yeah. Safety protocols off.
Yes. And the holodeck, to what you're saying, Alan, and also the holodeck always seems to be able to pull any power from anything it wants, anytime it wants. And then they're like, oh God, what do we do? And it's 100 years and they still haven't got it fixed right.
Even though Scotty was like, just give it its own little system.
Right.
That doesn't work.
No, that doesn't work either.
And clearly in next gen, that was not the answer.
Right.
But that is a callback to Voyager, though, because they mentioned on Voyager the holodeck has its own power source.
Yes.
Because they had to explain why they were having holodeck adventures when the ship is like rationing energy because they're 70 light years from 70 years away from Earth.
Yeah.
Yes.
But they still go to the holodeck. But yeah.
What I did like was I did kind of like the outfit Leon put on because it reminds me of Haley.
Oh yeah,
Atwell.
Yes,
yeah.
Exactly.
From the Avengers.
I thought about Carmen Sandiego.
Same here.
Me too.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah,
right.
So that was a good look. Overall, the adventure left me cold. It didn't do anything for me. I didn't laugh one time. It was fine. It didn't do anything for me. Personally, the whole thing with Spock is getting really old. Me personally.
I swear to God, it's getting like Ross and Rachel.
It is. I
don't want.
Yeah.
No.
And despite how it may sound, again, I always feel like I have to say a disclaimer. I am not somebody who spends my time hating a show because it starts violating continuity. I'm not that guy. But they are taking Spock so far afield that then trying to make him go back to the Spock in the original series, it seems unnecessary work they're giving themselves. I know what everybody is saying. Akiva Goldsman's already said this. The whole point is, as we've already talked about, the heartbreak with Christine and whatever may or may not happen with Leon, blah, blah, blah. Spock's going to realize one day, I need to really embrace my Vulcan side. That's why he's much more emotionless in the time of Kirk. But they're going so far down the road to play with the character.
They needed, like with Christine, they needed to just like slowly from Christine, just slowly back. Like, but on. No, like I could see the Christine thing, and I could accept that, even though he's like basically ignoring her. But there was a reason that he basically ignored her, and I could accept that. This is just like what are you doing?
I have no clue what's going on. And outside of all that, outside of my very almost personal irritation with this canon busting, I honestly feel they're taking too much writing time on Spock now. Like you guys were saying, I want to see a little bit more Mbinga. I want to see a little bit more Ortegas. I want to see a little bit more. I really want to see Pike. Sometimes still almost comes off like a guest star in the show to me. I can't explain it, even though he's in almost every scene.
Right.
So this whole Spock's the romances of Spock. It's almost like for you, those who are old enough, the mini loves of Dobie Gillis. It's just starting to get a little old for me. I'm just not interested in it. I'm just not interested in this Spock at all.
Yeah, and it's funny because for a while there in this episode, I was like, wow, he's really Spocking it up this week.
Yeah.
You know? And then that turned out to be the holodeck Spock.
Right.
And they seem to be directly contrasting that sort of cold holodeck Spock with the more passionate Spock when she goes to his cabin, like 2 scenes later.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that yet, because I mean, Spock really isn't emotionless. He is a passionate person who just controls his emotions.
Right.
So I really don't know yet how I feel about that. And, I mean, Spock certainly is capable of learning to dance. He mentioned in Whom Gods Destroy that Marta's dance was very similar to the dances of in Vulcan nursery schools. So the Vulcans have sort of a background with dance. So I could I don't know, because
I thought that too.
My initial reaction is like, oh good, Spock is dancing and romancing his colleagues again. Like, here we go again. You know what I mean? That's not the. I was just saying the rom-com Spock is not really my Spock. But I don't know. I don't know. I do think it's kind of funny to think that they met Khan in Space Seed and they're both like, wow, we were really into his great granddaughter.
I know. And that here we go again. That doesn't make as watching Wedding Bell Blues in this show, I had a thought that I put in my notes. Instead of T'Pring callback that's unnecessary, instead of the completely, to me, unworkable romance with Nurse Chapel, and instead of the whole thing with La'an, why didn't they craft something? I know they're going to go who. Why didn't they craft something for Spock to meet the character that Jill Ireland played in This Side of Paradise, the one with the spores?
Yeah,
thank you. I forgot her name. That was a whole story. And also, even in that episode, she told Elias Sandoval, she said, Spock's feelings were never open to me. So her whole point was she knew Spock loved her and she loved him, but he couldn't show it. That Spock and that romance would actually make more sense to me than everything else they've done so far. If you want to grab a character and expand on it. I honestly thought when he and La'an had that little kiss that was like, is this a hollow Spock within a hologram? Like, just like a third level? And I said, no, that's the real Spock. I was kind of surprised.
Well, and like 6 episodes ago, she was literally singing her heart out about James T. Kirk. And as a viewer, that was a long time ago. But on the show, that's not that many episodes ago.
I mean, it's been like the 3 months and 2 weeks. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's not that ever long ago.
Yeah. I wrote in my notes after watching all these episodes that for me personally, the show feels somewhat bipolar, honestly, to use that term. And I hope I don't offend anybody. It's the tonal shifts from really kind of serious and good to kind of goofy and over romantic. They make my head spin too much. So you'll get a good one like the whole Pike Mabinga thing, and then you get this. And so it almost feels like they bring in a different writing team for a certain type of episode. Okay, bring in the Gorn team, bring in the Klingon team.
And they can't see each other's episodes.
Right.
Yeah. It was too much a total shift. And also, given you have a 10-episode season, it's way too much of the Spock comedy stuff.
Yep.
So I keep feeling like I'm getting whiplash from, kind of cool to this, and that, and that. So it just left me cold, honestly.
Yeah. It has sort of the feel of the way they went in TNG, where on TNG they would start leaning into like things the actors wanted to do. So all of a sudden this character can dance. All of a sudden this character is in a play. What I mean? And this character is playing so and so on the holodeck. Which they're sort of leaning into now, whether it makes sense or not for Spock and La'an to be dancing the tango together. I don't know. I mean, I actually enjoyed this episode quite a bit. I ended up sitting here complaining about it, but I thought it was a fun episode. And I thought they were all good at playing the other characters they were playing. And I thought this was, they always like anytime they get a chance to play Anson Mount against type. And I thought this was the most successful of those that they've done, making him a sort of neurotic writer. Who looks like Elliot Gould for some reason. But I thought this was more effective than like the fairy tale episode, or some other times that they've done it.
Right.
I will say Paul Wesley wears 60s or 50s or 60s wear well. He did, and so that the actor whose name I can never pronounce, the actor who plays Dr. Mabinga, I did laugh with him because he was funny to me.
Yeah,
I thought he was pretty good.
Yeah,
I thought they all looked fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to say that Celia was amazing in the holodeck scenes. She was so good. And I mean, no surprise, because Celia is a wonderful actor. And I just thought that I can't remember the character's name, the agent that she played was fantastic.
Yeah.
I loved her. She was amazing.
Yeah.
She might be my favorite person on the show. Not that I have favorites, but
even more than Ortega's? Because I know you love Ortega.
Well, no. I mean, I have a love for Uhura that goes back decades. And I really do love Ortegas, and I really do love Pelia. But, my heart belongs to Uhura and always will.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, speaking of Ortega's, let's comment on the fact that last week the consequences for her actions, and they made a point that there is consequences for your actions. You're going to be out of the duty rotation for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And literally the first scene I think Una was in this week, she was like, "Well, I put Ortega's back on the bridge. Well, can you trust her? I think I can." Like, really?
And that's it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree, because when she had first talked about putting her on, and she said something like, "I'm even thinking of calling Ortega's back out," or whatever, how she said it. And I agree with you, Charles. If she had just left it there, kind of like when Captain Jellicoe in TNG asked Riker to pilot the shuttle, because they're like, "Look, he's the best," and he had suspended Riker from duty.
Right.
If she had done it for that one time and then went back and say, "You're still on, suspension or whatever," I agree. But her saying, she should have said, "I don't know." That's what she should have said. "I don't know. We just need her at this moment."
Yeah, something like that.
What's the kind of stuff they played with the Starbuck on Battlestar Galactica, where it was always like, "You're in the brig for this XYZ, but also we need you for this mission." but they, I don't know. I just felt like it's an immediate reversal of the consequences from last week. I was kind of looking forward to Ortega's sort of pacing the halls and being out of action while the ship's in danger, knowing it's her fault that someone else is at the helm.
Right.
Right. And having to live with the consequences of her actions.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think we're going to have time to get all the comments that we have, but I want to say thank you so much to all the people who have been chatty tonight, who have thrown us comments and questions. We love it. I'm just going to get one, because I think that Elaine noticed my pickle t-shirt. Pickles.
The most important one.
The most important comment. Yes. So I just thought that, like, I hope that's not going to be the only acknowledgement that we get of Ortega's behavior in last week's episode.
I hope not.
I hope that's not the end of this. I hope that's not, but that just made no sense.
Since Discovery came back, I have practiced. It wasn't intentional, but it's become incidental. I don't know what comes every week. I never know what comes every week. I read nothing. I don't even know titles. So I'll be completely surprised to see how they handle it, because how they handled her last week was awesome. And I hope they keep with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't want to end it on a negative. So, Keith, go ahead and give us your Wedding Bell Blues thoughts before
I don't want to end it on a negative.
It won't take long at all. I was watching it today and I thought, goodness, this might rival that Elysium whatever thing that I can't stand. Elysium Kingdom. And I've said this a billion times. I don't actively dislike a lot of episodes of Star Trek, and I'm talking hundreds. You have to go up to "And the Children Shall Lead" for me to find something I kind of despise. Elysium Kingdom's up there, and Wedding Bell Blues is kind of up there. I really hated this episode. It made no sense. And if I have to write one more time about Lovesick Spock, it just didn't work for me. Fortunately, the shuttle, the episode with the Klingon zombies, kind of helped redeemed it. But yeah, I don't ever need to see Wedding Bell Blues anymore. That's when I first wrote down, they seem like they go from a good group of relatively serious writers, even though I don't like the Gorn, but they do a good job. And then they hit the comedy, and I just don't respond to it. I just don't.
I will say there was a interview with them, and they said they put a lot of the lighthearted stuff earlier in the season and a lot of the heavier stuff later in the season. So you might get more episodes late coming up. I'm assuming after the Vulcan hijinks is when the Keith Happy episodes will be.
And real quick, for people who don't know me, believe it or not, I'm a joker, and I joke more than anybody, and I love comedy. Deep Space Nine did this. I love In the Cards. I love Take Me Out to the Holosuite. I am not the guy who thinks Star Trek must always be serious. That's not it. Their humor just doesn't work for me in this franchise, in this show.
All right. Well, Alan, where can people find more of you?
Well, head on over to cosmiccreative.com, KOZMIC creative.com, and check out Modern Musicology. Ran a little ad for that halfway through the episode. We just, 2 weeks ago, we put out our episode reminiscing about 40 years ago. The day the episode came out was Live Aid. And then the 2 episodes after that are our 2-part episode about the music of 1985, the albums that came out that year. So the one that's out now covers January through June, and we have a lot to talk about. 85 was a big year. And I'm right now editing.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I'm right now editing part 2, which it covers July through December. And then next week, we have a special guest that's going to be on, and we're going to be doing finally, this has been delayed because we already had these episodes recorded before this happened, but we're going to be doing our episode remembering Ozzy Osbourne and his remarkable career and the impact he had on the music industry, and our personal memories of his music and stuff. So I'm really looking forward to, we're going to be recording that episode Sunday night, and it'll be out a week after that. So everybody go jump into Modern Musicology.
How about you, Keith?
You can find me on Facebook, primarily the ESO Network Facebook groups.
And how about us, Veronica?
Feltnerdy.com.
That's right. And we're in prep for Dragon Con mode right now. So that's pretty much what we'll be doing for the next month. But follow us at feltnerdy.com or feltnerdy across social media, or feltnerdy and dirty for the adult-oriented stuff. And where else can people find us?
Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkeys.
That's right. And do you have a closing for us this week?
I thought about this at the beginning episode. I was like, oh crap, I don't have anything.
Oh no.
And then I was gonna do a funny thing that was in the Weird 60s episode.
But then you found out that Keith doesn't like comedy. So.
and then I just was like, and then we got into the episode and my brain got distracted. And
I thought you were gonna scream pickles.
Pickles.
There you go.
All right, everyone, join us every Thursday. We go live on Thursday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern, talk about the latest Star Trek episode or a legacy Star Trek topic, and then after the fact on your favorite podcast platform.
Yep. Thanks, y'all.
Next week is episode 5, and it's called Through the Lens of Time.
Halfway through. Wow.
So next Thursday at whatever time that is. 8 o'clock. All right, everybody, have a good week. See you later.
See you all.